Hello, sailors! Welcome to the notice board episode of American Sailor, U.S. Sailing's official podcast. We're here with Lexi Pline,
Hello.
Whitney Kent,
Hey, everybody.
and myself, Janelle Barton. First on our list today is Snipe Worlds. Out in Japan. Lexi, you were there. Tell us about it.
Yes, I was. Yeah, sorry I missed podcast last week, listeners. I did record a video and I meant to send it to everyone at the podcast and then completely forgot because I was in Japan. So we can play that right now.
Hello, American Sailor podcast listeners. You may be wondering why I'm not on the podcast today, or not, because who cares? Team Pline is here in Enoshima, Japan for the Snipe Women's World Championship. We'll be racing. We just got done our first day. We're going to be racing today, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. So 4 days of racing, 2 races every day, and it's pretty epic out there. I mean, what did we see today, you think?
16, 17.
16, 17 knots, gigantic waves. We're crashing through them. I think we had a 6th and an 8th or something like that, but I'm honestly just here to have fun, make international friends, and have a good time, and hopefully not hurt myself too much.
But it was great. I was sailing with my mom, Lisa. This is our third Women's World Championship together. We went to Italy in 2016. There was one in Newport in 2018, and then this year. I think honestly, probably some of the hardest conditions I've ever sailed in. It was super windy, big waves, bigger than I've ever seen. I would say like 4 to 6 feet, maybe up to 8 at certain points. Um,
Nice.
it was yeah, really windy. The technical rules for the Snipe Women's World Championship is that you can't have a sustained 18. You can't start a race in a sustained 18. But that's like a 5 minute reading, sustained over 18 for 5 minutes. And that's only to start a race. So if it gets to like 25, which it definitely did in one of the races, doesn't matter. Like they can keep sailing. It's up to their judgment. There was one where it got to probably 25, like both sails out luffing, still trying not to capsize. And they did shorten that race because enough people flipped over that they were like, maybe not. Um, we got 6 overall, which I was super happy with. I think I was coming into this thinking like, let's go like mid fleet because, there were some really, really talented women in this fleet. And I knew it was going to be kind of windy, and my mom and I hadn't sailed in a lot of that before. So I was just like, mid fleet would be great, or just performing as best as we possibly can. So to get 6th out of 35 boats was pretty epic. 6 countries. There's a lot of people from Japan. Obviously, it was in Enoshima where the 2020 sailing events were held for that Olympics. Um, Japan, 3 U.S. teams, a Belgian team, a Croatian team, 2 teams from Brazil, and a team from Spain. Um, yeah, I mean, just being able to do this kind of event is really awesome. One of the things I love the most about being in an international one design fleet is the opportunities and like places I've been able to go that sailing has provided me. I don't think I would have ever gone to Japan. I did the Snipe Worlds in Brazil in 2019. I did the Snipe Westerns in Algarrobo, Chile in 2023. And both of those places are like the place I would never have gone if it weren't for our snipe sailing. And you also get to go to these places and meet people. It's like more than a tourist interaction. You get to go and meet people who are living there and whatever. You're in close quarters, you make friends with them. The Japanese put on a great event that did a lot of like the closing ceremony. They dressed us all in yukatas, which are like the cotton kimonos, and like taught us a bunch of Japanese dances. And so the whole regatta is like dressed in these really bright yukata, and we all got to have that experience. That's stuff that I like absolutely would not have been able to do without sailing, which is really cool. Um, the My mom also did the first Night Women's Worlds, which were held in Japan in 1994. She was one of 2 returning skippers to come back and do this one in 2025. Did I say 2024? 1994.
I was going to say
1990. No,
it's
wait, that doesn't make
longer
sense.
ago than that.
Yeah, so my mom did the first Women's Worlds in Japan in 1994.
Lexi, what were
Um,
you doing in 1994?
Not existing. My mom actually, it was my parents used it as their honeymoon. So it was my mom, my mom's crew Cheryl, and my dad, who was the boat boy, I guess.
It's romantic.
Yeah, well, and he did the same thing this time. He came as our boat boy and literally just he's also the Snipe US National Secretary. So I think they appreciated him being there in like one design fleet leaders meeting kind of capacity. But yeah, he literally just came to like rig the boat, which was great because we ended up having to like replace the spreaders and do a bunch of other stuff to make it good for us. We chartered. So yeah, glad to have him there. Um, we the Another interesting like tidbit about the snipe in Japan is that it's first of all it's the largest snipe fleet in the world exists in Japan. Their fleet in Enoshima has like I want to say they said it's like 150 boats. It's huge, and it's also
Wow.
their university, one of two university boats. So they sell snipes and 470s in their like university college sailing system, and which I think is really cool because you get to actually sail a boat that you can tune. And, in the case of the 470, you're sailing a boat with a spinnaker and the trapeze wire, um, which is like a huge learning opportunity for them. And their system's a little different. They're not sailing like a regatta every weekend. That's not the kind of training. I think they train a lot to do like independent events. Like a lot of the university teams are going to do like the local snipe events, but they also have like their all Japan championship. And I want to say, and I don't know this for someone has to fact check me on this. Those happen like once a semester kind of thing, but they're not like, it's not like us where we have like, five regattas in each conference every weekend. Um, so that's cool.
Yeah, just a different format.
Yeah, very different format. And I mean, I really wish we could introduce more snipe sailing to college sailors because being able to learn how to tune a boat and the snipe tuning is like very basic. This is not something with uppers and lowers or whatever. It's, one set of spreaders and it's like pretty simple, but I mean, it's better than other boats you can't tune. And especially the college boats that we have, you really can't touch it at all, which I think is unfortunate.
You
Yeah.
mentioned a few other American teams. I think the Americans did quite well at this event. Can you tell us about the other teams?
Yeah, so results were that Japanese team, who's also this woman's 470 world champion, won the event. Their Croatian team got second. A Japanese team got third, and then it was American teams 4, 5, 6. So Kathleen Talk was fourth, Sarah Alexander was fifth, and we were sixth. So yeah, a really good event for the Americans. Also, good event for I think like the bigger teams just because it was so windy. Some of the other like college teams were small girls and all the Western teams were kind of like big women, which helped with how windy it was.
Yeah, sounds like it. The pictures are pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty epic. And just like being in Japan, I mean, we'd be like sailing around. They did two races a day. We'd be like sailing around in between race 1 and 2 of the day. And Sarah Alexander, who's another Annapolis person, we'd come up to each other and just go, "We're sailing in Japan." It's like, how cool is that? Like, you got Mount Fuji in the distance. You've got this like island. It was really epic and just a cool, learned a lot, was able to do a lot of really good sailing, but also like you're just like in a foreign country getting to go sailing. Like how lucky are we? So
Yeah, and probably at a really nice venue, having just had the Olympics there not too long ago.
yeah, oh God, most places, international places I've gone for sailing, like their facilities are next level. And it's really cool to be able to go to those places that have like, if only we had this kind of thing. It was like the US Sailing Center in Miami on steroids, like huge parking lot, tons of boats, great facilities. So yeah, that was awesome.
Very cool. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. You guys crushed it. Team Pline
Thanks,
for the
Team
win.
Pline. Yeah, now I'm
Team
just gonna have
fine.
like
Big
trip
fans.
withdrawals for the next however many months. Gotta plan another sailing trip.
Yep.
Janelle, you want to go somewhere? You want a match race?
Yeah,
Let's do
race.
the
I
three of
mean,
us. Let's go.
the one thing I
Love that.
remember exactly what you said, going abroad, zooming out away from the racing and realizing where you were. It's the coolest thing I've got to
Yeah,
do with my sailing.
yeah, pretty epic. All right, so that's my one design. Everyone can hear about my trip to Japan. Tell me, ask me, and I'll tell you more. Because I won't shut up about it. But on the other side of sailing, completely opposite from that, the 38th America's Cup protocol has been confirmed. That was like news. I don't want to say this morning as of recording. So Whitney, Janelle, thoughts?
Pretty, okay, very cloak and dagger per usual, right? With the draft protocol becoming confirmed. But there was a group of people at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron in Auckland that signed the papers to make this the confirmed protocol for the 38th America's Cup, which will take place in Naples, Italy in July 2027. So not next summer, but the following. But I'll run through the highlights here quickly. But essentially, they're intending that this will be a biannual event, which is a pretty big change.
That's
They're
huge.
going to use, yeah, very frequent, much more frequent. They're going to use, if you raced in the last cup, so the 37th edition, you have to use those hulls. And they have a part of the reason for that is they have a new budget, a very tight 75 million euro budget, which I can relate to.
Yeah, I relate to that
Um,
Yeah.
every day.
That's my like yearly budget,
Yeah. So they're trying to keep it in check, relatively speaking, for the America's Cup with that budget. So if you're a team that's coming back, you have to use your previous hull, which I think is good for teams that are happy with their hulls, like the French team and the New Zealand team, for one. And we'll see. It's a different type of venue, right? So maybe a different design hull is going to do better there than it did in the last round, but we'll see. 5-person crew, so it's much smaller. They're going to have more battery power to kind of simulate the 4 cyclists that were on the boat. At least one female needs to be on board, and they're allowed to have 2 non-nationals. So,
Mm.
like for example, Lexi and I could go sail with the Italians and satisfy. Oh no, actually, just kidding. I think the female has to be from that country.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So close
sorry,
call
our
there. I
cup
know they
careers
were
are
about
over.
to pick up. Yeah, they were about to pick up the phone. Well, what else? They're gonna have a VIP on board, so maybe that's where we get our spot.
Oh yeah,
Each boat.
totally.
Yeah, and then they're gonna have what else do we got? We got mixed fleet and match racing in the Louis Vuitton Cup. I think all the teams, so including the Defender, which is New Zealand, is going to compete in a mix of fleet and match racing. There's going to be more sailing in general in the lead up. So the format will be the top 4 will be
Hmm.
a knockout series. So first 2 to 5 for the semifinals, and then first team to 7 wins the finals, and then races New Zealand for the cup. And then they're also going to have more AC40 regattas, so like the smaller version of the boat, and each team can have 2 AC40s, which is kind of cool. It just increases the participation. I don't know if you guys watched much of the AC40 racing last year, but it was cool. It was fun. Like the youth teams pedaled down, but carnage everywhere. It was great.
That
It was
was,
the
I actually
best
think that
racing.
was my favorite part. I watched, I want to say was it the Louis Vuitton series, like the before the cup, like the year before? I'm gonna sound
Um,
super ignorant.
the Louis
But
Vuitton is like the lead up. It's like the pre. That's where they
The
determine
lead
who's
up
gonna
for the
race.
whatever one was
75s.
in was the regular teams in the 40s. I watched some of that on TV, and that was like that's the best like in that whole cycle. I had the most fun watching that because the fleet racing is like watching these guys match race each other in these, not so interesting to me. Watching them fleet race, I'm like, I'm sad. I'm watching. Eyes
Yeah,
glued.
because they're foiling at like 40
Oh my
knots. I
God. Yeah,
mean,
and the close quarters and everything and yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun to watch. I'm glad they kept that around.
yeah. I mean, I imagine there's a lot of pretty strong opinions on a lot of this. I mean,
Oh
some
yeah.
of it seems like positive changes as far as spectating, right? We get to watch it more frequently. I think they're trying obviously to drive participation with um, the relative lower cost of competing. I think the
Hmm.
penalty for exceeding your budget is you have to pay that same, if you go over by 25 million euro, you have to pay the OA 25 million euro. So it's like
Good
double.
fundraising pitch, I guess.
Yeah.
I also saw a lot of news or like talk about the fact that there's no more human power. They've restricted it to batteries, which I think is, I mean, that's a huge change. Sort of a, I mean, I don't, from everything that I read, it's not going to practically change the sailing at all, but it's just like an interesting, from all of the other, cups that we've had, either grinders or I guess they call them cyclists. So to take away the human power element is interesting because it also will limit, there's no longer unlimited power. So you kind of
Yeah.
gotta that'll come into play. I'm
Good
curious
point.
to see how that'll work, and I know that a lot of people have opinions on that. So
Yeah. Send us your opinions, American Sailor at ussailing.org. We want to hear your thoughts on the new protocol. If you're going to be watching, if you're not going to be watching, tell us. We want to know.
oh
So
yeah.
I'm personally excited. I think it's going to be interesting to see how like the sail design and foil design um, is impacted by the not having new hulls, right? I think that's where teams will focus. So it'll be
That's
interesting.
true. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
And then yeah, so that's kind of my America's Cup update. Lexi, you want to tell us about Sears Cup and very similar style boats?
Yeah, totally. Because J22 is an AC40 is exactly the same. Yeah, we just hosted, or US Sailing just hosted our Sears Cup. That's the Chubb US Youth Triple-Handed Championship. Triple-handed, that's sort of a misnomer. A lot of the times, especially recently, it's been in four-person boats, but it is one of US Sailing's oldest championships. It's an opportunity for young people to get in keel boats, which doesn't always happen. So really love this championship. I didn't go this year as media. I have in the past. It is one of the most fun championships for me to go to and take photos at. People are usually really grateful for the opportunity to get in a keel boat. The camaraderie between teams is amazing. And it's really cool to see these kids from all over the country get to meet in one place. So that's my step off my soapbox. But 3 days of great racing in San Francisco, right on the city front at St. Francis. Um, the San Francisco Yacht Club won the event. Mission Bay got second, and Wayzata Yacht Club rounded out the podium in third place. Special honors also went to Mission Bay, who received the Ship Shape Trophy. That's for teams who take the best care of the boats. And the Waikiki Yacht Club, who were awarded the Sportsmanship Trophy. And I'll also say, yeah, the Waikiki kids were like the nicest to me when I went and shot that event. I want to say 2 years ago. I got a candy lei, so I can vouch for their sportsmanship. So yeah, that's U.S.
Awesome.
Sailing's triple-handed championship. Also, if you're a youth listening to this podcast and you still have a chance, like you're still eligible to do Sears Cup, absolutely get a team together and do your area qualifier next year. It is an awesome championship.
I did it in
Um,
Rhodes 19s and Marblehead back in the day, and
oh
I don't want to
yeah,
brag or
Oh,
anything, but we did win the Ship Shape Perpetual Trophy.
there we
So
go.
special shout out to Mission Bay for getting lumped into the same trophy as the team from South Shore Yacht Club in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Elite, the elite team of the best bosuns there are.
Yeah.
All right, then on a, pivoting to the next realm of sailing, we're going to just cover everything in this podcast episode. There was drama at the Ocean Race Europe. Janelle, can you tell us about that?
yes. So Ocean Race Europe just started a few days ago. There's a spectacular collision between two boats right after the start. High speed, broken fiberglass, rip sail, sending both boats back to shore, unable to race this first leg.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the video is pretty wild. There's a bunch of different perspectives of it. Like there's cameras everywhere at the start of these things. So if you don't follow the ocean race, the people in Europe are nuts about it, right? The IMOCAs are super popular there. So there's a lot of spectator boats out. There's a ton of cameras out there. It's being covered by local news outlets. So there's a ton of footage of this. Um, but yeah, the two teams, Holcim and Mape, came together pretty hard. I'm sure that is a lot of discourse on the interwebs about who is at fault, and there is a protest filed. So it'll be interesting to see the outcome. But essentially, my perspective was that Holcim was just out of control a little bit. The leeward boat looked like maybe their keel was canted not the right direction, but they were broaching, and I think they broached a couple times before that. And then Mape came up from behind them, weather side, and their J0 got sliced in half, so they need a whole new J0. Punched a hole in their main, which has already been fixed, and then it sounds like they need all new rigging on the starboard side. Their outrigger was probably damaged because their outrigger punched a massive hole in Holcim's port side.
Oh my gosh.
But both boats are going to attempt to be at the start of the next leg.
Wow.
So yeah, Holcim is getting a whole new carbon fit piece to like put into the boat where it was holed. And then I think the other boat's getting like some non-destructive testing going on to figure out if they have any structural issues. But I mean, it seems like if we're sailing lasers, right, this would be an inexcusable accident, but you can't see out of these boats. Like they're totally enclosed cockpits. When you watch videos of these guys with their heads sticking out of them, I mean, it's like spray. The sails are huge. They have a huge blind spot to leeward behind the J0. So, they have their biggest sails up. Sponsors are all there. I don't know what you guys have a take on this one. I'll be curious to see what the jury decides.
Well, a lot of the discourse I've seen online was kind of talking about whether this is, a boat on boat accident or whether the conditions are not right for these boats to be racing. So, meaning like all the times we've seen these kind of collisions, including in the ocean race, 2 years ago, is that it's all in close quarters when these boats have like huge outriggers, like you said, big blind spots, and they're racing in super close proximity, oftentimes in a lot of wind, which seems a little out of control to me, but I know that they got to get views and they got to start somewhere. And those places tend to be ports, which are small, and they like the excitement of having all these boats next to each other. But it does seem like a little dangerous to be having the kind of out of control foiling machines like that are meant to be on the ocean by themselves, right next to each other.
Yeah, there was some chatter about that on the dock. It's with some of the interviews between the skippers that like the
Mm.
spectator boats and everything, it's just all like too close quarters. But yeah,
Gotta get the views, gotta get on
got to get
TV.
the views.
Hmm.
I mean, they're amazing boats, but yeah, an unfortunate incident. But it is super impressive, and you can follow it online to watch what the shore teams are able to get done.
Yeah.
And I know a bunch of the other teams in the race are helping, like lending spare parts and stuff to these boats to get them back to the starting line. So hopefully we have 7 boats on the starting line in Portsmouth. We will see. We'll be
Yeah.
following that one.
The real champions of all of this, the shore teams, the people doing all the work and
Yes.
staying up for 24
Oh my
hours or
gosh.
whatever to do all of this kind of work. Like
The people
gigantic
just
shout out to all those people.
grinding carbon.
Yeah.
Yes,
Godspeed.
exactly.
It sounds like their happy place anyway. On a sadder note, 8 bells for Peter Lester. America's Cup legend, much loved sailing commentator, died suddenly this past Friday night at age 70. He's known for his multiple America's Cup campaigns as a commentator, Olympic coaching roles, broadcasting, and his infectious enthusiasm will truly be missed. Shifting over into the Midwest, busy summer schedule. ILYA, the Little Inland Lakes on Lake Minnetonka and Minnetonka Yacht Club hosted a massive event. Whitney, can you tell us about it?
Our
Sure,
local
yeah.
Midwest
So
correspondent, Whitney.
yes, live from not the Midwest this episode, but um Lake Minnetonka hosted the like dinghy championship week. So they do a big regatta for all of the youth sailors. It rotates from like lake to lake every year. It was hosted this year on Lake Minnetonka on Lighthouse Island. It's a really cool venue if you guys haven't been up there. Um, US Sailing employee Jess Haverstock used to run that program. So we'll shout out to Jess, but we'll have her on one day to tell us more about the inland. But they sailed over 100 X boats, which are these kind of like 16-foot hard chine jib and main boats that they sail with 2 people. So that's their boat that they put the kids in after sailing Opties. And they have a senior fleet and a junior fleet. When I was growing up, they're called Cub boats. I think they still kind of call them that colloquially, but kind of a fun fleet, super competitive. Essentially, you kind of work your way up through it. So they have like the little ones are the crew for the bigger ones, and then they work their way up until everybody hopefully gets a chance to skipper. So shout out to the senior fleet champs this year from Pewaukee. They also won the junior fleet last year. And then they also have a couple days of Opti sailing. They had a ton of Optis. They do green fleet and red, white, and blue. And they also had like 75 Malgus 15s, which is another quick, fast growing fleet. They're busy in the winter in Florida, and you'll see a bunch of the same names sailing at the Dinghy Inland Championships, winning events down in Florida. So it's cool. It's like they have a youth mark on the results if you look at them, which is 25 and under. And I think like the top 3 teams are all 25 and under. So Oliver Gray and Adler Johnston of Lake Geneva. Lake Geneva won, I think, first, second, and third at the Malgus 15 event. So just a huge event, puts a ton of work for the venue, but it's really cool. They have a ton of like team building stuff they do. It's been going on for a long time. And there's just a cool vibe around the inland lake sailing up there. So they transition right from the small boat, the dinghy inlands to big inlands, which is happening right now. We've talked about the A Scows before. So they're racing today. Then they follow by the E Scows and C Scows. So the E Scows sail with 3 or more people. They have a maximum weight limit, but what's cool about these classes is if it's windy, you can add a person, pull the bilge boards, stuff like that. And then the Sea Scouts, which is a really popular boat too, which is 2 or more. And one of the interesting things, if you look through the registration lists, is it's a lot of families sailing together. So Lexi, you can support that. Like the Snipe fleet is
Big
similar
advocate
too.
for family sailing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Have you
It's
guys ever
trying
sailed
at
on the
times, but it
Scout?
actually is so much fun. And if you have the chance to sail with your family, you should do it.
Absolutely, I agree.
I have not sailed
Uh,
on a scow yet. I've seen them buzz by, those big surfboards, big sails. There's a bunch in Jersey Shore. So
Oh yeah, you're in the
I've
East Coast
gotten
Scout territory.
gotten close to that glorious vessel, but I have yet to be on board.
yeah, they're cool. So the big inlands are on Lake Winnebago at Oshkosh Yacht Club. Lots of fun names.
Yeah.
Uh, the Transperior race, which is the longest freshwater race on Earth, which is held every other year, every odd numbered year. It's like 326 nautical miles. So it's 30-ish miles longer than the Chicago Mac, which is a little bit longer than the Bayview Mac. Just finished up. So it's on Lake Superior, Trans Superior. It sails across Lake Superior. And it
Huh.
starts kind of near where the Edmund Fitzgerald sank of the Gordon Lightfoot song fame. And then it races to Duluth, Minnesota. So one cool thing is all of the boats that are starting have to go through the locks because Lake Superior is at a different level than Lake Huron and Lake Michigan. So there's a lot of cool pictures of that. I saw people up the mast going through there. And then shout out to a North American 40 still cleaning up after all these years. They won the lowest corrected time over a bunch of 70 footers that did
Nice.
the Trans Superior, the Chicago Mac, and the Bayview Mac. A classic
Very cool.
yacht. And then famous ski racer / sailor Mark Sertle has now successfully sailed across all 5 Great Lakes. So shout out to Mark for that. And one more to Jeff Doddart, who won the solo fleet. So we talked a little bit about solo sailing a couple of weeks ago, but there was a solo fleet in this race too. And the Trans Superior is like cold, upwind most of the time. I mean, it takes a certain person to want to do that. So
That it does.
Is there a special name for getting across all 5 Great Lakes? You guys have some.
It's
I
like
don't
old
know. We
goat. We
should
need like a find another animal.
Yeah. The
Salty
yeah,
northern.
we'll find some sort of
hawk or something.
there is like a Native American legend of like a giant sea serpent on Lake Superior. Maybe we'll name it that.
The
That sounds
salty
great.
serpent.
Salty serpent on the freshwater
That's
races.
Oh, dang it. Yeah.
Salty is for the
Yup.
sweat that it takes to get across the legs.
To get all the way
This
across
is a
them.
cope. Yeah, I'm
Well,
justifying.
speaking of salt,
Yes. Yeah, we'll move across the pond. We've got a few updates, some big regattas over in Europe. Cows Week, ORC Europeans, the Admirals Cup, 29er Worlds. A lot of things happening over there and really fun to see and follow.
yeah,
I
the
saw some
Cows Week
videos
is
from Cows Week, and that looks crazy. I've never seen
I
that many
know.
boats in one place.
Going
yeah.
downwind.
There's like over 30 classes, over 500 boats. That
Wow.
one is definitely on my bucket list. And it's in a small town. Like Cows is a small town. It's definitely like sailing obsessed. Apparently,
Yeah.
there's just like chandleries everywhere, Musto stores, Helly Hansen stores, the whole deal.
I like it already.
Get ready,
Yeah,
people. They're looking for rides. Call my girls, Vinny and Janelle.
yeah. Here we go. Let's go. Yeah, and just a little shout out to American Sandy Askew, who has a Cape 31 called Flying Jenny, who won the Britannia Cup, which is one of the more prestigious trophies in British sailing. I think Prince something in the 50s gave it to this regatta usually goes to like the highest rated boats. So this year it was IRC 1 and 2, and that's like TB52s and stuff. And she sent it on her Cape 31. So congrats to Sandy. That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Another U.S. team won ORC 0 Vesper at the European title in Palma. So there are like almost 120 boats that sailed in that from all over Europe. There was just the one U.S. team, but a cool event, different rating system than they use in Cows, but a lot of boats sailing over there right now. And then we talked a little bit about the Admirals Cup, but it wrapped up with the Fastnet and it was pretty tight. And Yacht Club de Monaco won, and they have never even competed before. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that was they were not winning going into the Fastnet. They had a really strong performance. Team Callisto, who Jim Murray is an American from the Midwest, who gave him a run for it in the Fastnet, almost beat him. It was pretty much like down to the wire. So kind of cool to see a new winner. Super cool to see this event back. They announced the next edition is gonna be in 2027. So they're gonna run it again, and hopefully they get even more teams participating. But it's a classic regatta. Fun to see it happening in new boats. So if you're a offshore sailing lover, this is a fun one to follow. So we like to see that.
All right, and then we got to talk about the Helly Hansen Sailing World Marblehead. I had seen it being in the New England area, but Janelle and Whitney shared with me this insane video of a J70 just absolutely hauling ass downwind. Reminding me of the awesome Aussie Skiffs video, only boat with their kite up, everyone's broaching all over the place, and there's just this boat sending it. Whitney and Janelle, you sent me that video, so do you know the players involved?
Yeah, we were watching it. We are like, there's got to only be a very small handful of J70 teams out there that could keep the boat upright. Because in their wake is like a bunch of masts that are never going to be the same again. Just boats tipping over. That was cool. It was fun to watch.
I've
There's
never
cool.
seen a wake from a sailboat like under sail power like that ever before in my life. You showed me the video, and at first I was like, it's a we'll put it up, but it's a side by side of like the cockpit video and the coach boat video, and I was like, oh, this isn't like the first like 30 seconds. I'm like, why'd you guys send me this? It's not that interesting. Then they set the kite and just like I was like, oh, that's the part that's exciting. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
it drew us in. We saw only still shots from Marblehead. We didn't see any video for a long time. And it was the
Yeah.
still shots were like bent masts off in the corner. A boat is broached, someone attempting to take a kite down while someone's attempting to put the kite up. It just looked like the squall hit at the perfect time, right at the
Complete
windward mark.
carnage.
And then a
Woo!
week later, you see this video. And I mean, I wish I was on board. It looked incredible.
That looked so epic. Yeah, I would what I wouldn't give to have that like ride of a lifetime. It looked epic.
Yeah, their quotes afterwards like didn't never gone that fast in a J70 before.
I've never seen a J70 go that fast, period.
Not even under tow. Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun
Yeah, it
video.
was like, wow. Well, and
Yeah.
then yeah, at the end they take the spinnaker down and just like let it go in the water because it's one of those like the spinnaker's coming down when God takes it down, you know?
Yeah. Hang on, fasten your seatbelts. We're sending it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a fun
exactly.
video.
Exactly. And
But yeah,
then
Nice.
continue on the East Coast swing of this podcast. Hinman Masters were at New York Yacht Club. It was this past weekend, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. New York Yacht Club got first, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I think it was their fourth win, like fourth in a row.
Hmm.
Corinthian was second, and Eastport Yacht Club was third. And Whitney Peterson from Risk Strategies, who's a partner of ours, was on the winning team. So congratulations, Whitney.
Yeah, they were up early. I was at the Safe Harbor Regatta and they were out racing before I had even like gotten dressed to go sailing. So
Yeah,
they
they
were
were
working hard.
hmm getting out there, getting some team racing.
Yeah. All right,
Janelle,
Janelle,
do you
take us
want
through some
to?
match racing highlights.
Yeah, this is my favorite discipline, so I can do a little pivot to match racing. We've had a busy summer schedule, a women's pre-Worlds clinic, youth match racing worlds, Governor's Cup. Part of the Grand Slam has started with Oak Cliff International and the Thompson Trophy with great results. So looking back, earlier in July, Dave Perry hosted an incredible women's pre-Worlds clinic. If you didn't know that the women's match racing worlds are hosted in the US for the next 2 years, this year, this fall in Chicago, and next year in San Francisco. And so big push stateside to get our best coaches, to get our best female teams up to speed because we're going to win the gold. Next up, we have Youth Match Racing Worlds. A bit of a shame that the last day didn't have any wind, and so the results went back to the round robin, giving French teams first and second place, but close behind. I knew they were going to get it to the finals. Is Justin Callahan and team and Morgan Pickney and team picking up third and fourth at Youth Worlds, and not but a day later, flying back from Poland to California to compete in the Governor's Cup. Both teams Justin and Morgan going second and third, with Cole Tapper taking the Governor's Cup this year. Um,
Yeah, that was
Lexi,
an impressive turnaround. I kind of couldn't believe it when I was watching the results of the Governor's Cup. I was like, wait a minute.
Weren't you just here like 2 days ago? Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And it looked like some of the teams had changed. So the RS 21s, if they sailed in Poland, and then kind of a crew swap, maybe those youth can't take 2 weeks off in a row from their internships or their
Gus,
jobs.
club, another club, no sleep. Nobody believed in me.
But
We believe
incredible
in you guys.
turnaround. They're on the cusp. The US match racing scene is incredibly strong. I know that these youth are going to start taking gold, and I know the women are going to start taking gold as well.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, shifting to Oak Cliff. I know, Lexi, you've hailed from Oak Cliff for a while. There's a Grand Slam series. Two of the events are held at Oak Cliff. Can you tell us a little bit about the international and the
Yeah.
Thompson?
So I was watching a little bit of some of the media coming out of that. Obviously, sailing on Long Island Sound in the summer can be really hit or miss. It looked pretty light for international. They're sailing the Oak Cliff Match 40s, which are bigger than pretty much anything else you'll match race on the circuit. So you've got like 6 people. You've got spinnaker pole that's like I want to say it's like 7 feet. I don't know. It feels like a million feet long, and a bow that feels like a small apartment, as one of the Italian teams described it to me. I usually did pit in the match 40s because I'm not going in front of the mast. That's too much big pole. I don't want to get jammed in the face. Um, Matt, all of my respect goes out to all the people who do bow on a match 40. Um, Cole Tapper won that event. Just won Gov Cup. He's kind of been on a winning streak recently, so cool to see that. A lot of I think Freddie Parkin's also a youth. He got second. I want to say he's also a youth match racer. I know Morgan is. So seeing a lot of our like American youth match racers up in the top, which we love to see. Chris Poole and Dave Perry kind of had a shocker weekend. Not exactly sure what happened there. Like I said, there wasn't any like live coverage or anything, but they not exactly sure what happened. Especially Chris sails the match 40s a lot, so I was expecting to see him do better at sort of his home venue of Oak Cliff. I think looking at the Thompson Trophy results, which finished Thompson Trophy finishes today, he's in is it the semifinals or the finals, Janelle?
The finals
The
against
finals, yeah.
Cole
So
Tapper.
back on top. I'm not again, maybe just a off weekend. We all have him, so he's back
I
on
just
top
was
for Thompson.
I was excited because I saw Ben Rosenberg, who was sailing with Chris Poole, and Ben's a talented sailor. I saw Ben fell off the boat, and I was
Yeah.
excited to see that because I fell off the boat last time I was match racing. So I was like, oh, see, everybody does it. No
Even the
big
best
deal.
sailor. I too, if Janelle was there. I fell off the boat sailing Santa Maria Cup with her in 2023. All the best match racers fall off the boat. We all had that moment. So funny that it was
Yep.
captured on camera. Sorry, Ben, but that is
Yeah,
low
yeah.
key hilarious.
Poor Ben, that is making the rounds on social media. It's a great photo though.
I'm actually mad that no one got a picture or video of me falling off the boat with Janelle because, like, if it's gonna happen, I want someone to turn it into a meme. Okay,
I,
like,
I
I want
remember.
it in 5 times slow mo. I want like zoom in on my face as I'm like, oh my God, just losing my shoes, all that. So, you
Every
know,
Monday morning.
yeah,
Oh my God.
true. If it's gonna happen, I want proof. So,
Fair
Ben, at
enough.
least you got proof.
One of the best
Use
ones
it.
I've seen is someone walking off the bow. I think it was in St. Thomas
Oh
on an
my God.
IC 24. They're holding onto the pole, trying to do a pull up, hoping someone will let the pole go forward so they can get back to the bow. The pole snaps. They're now holding two parts of the pole.
Oh,
Oh my
Iron, like
God.
reverse iron cross, trying to stay in, now dragging in the water, kites in there. I don't think they won the race, but it was really impressive. I think I'm digging back. I think it was on Taylor's team. I can see his face. I can't remember his name. Incredible though.
That's incredible. Sometimes you gotta like again, you need the proof because it's hilarious.
yeah, a little appreciation note for all the hosts that let the match racers continue coming back after all of these shenanigans, particularly some wild things that have happened at Oak Cliff over the years. People getting
Boat
excited mid-match
sinking and
race. Yeah,
masts breaking and kites being ripped in half. I mean, yeah, at least there wasn't any of that. No one got sent to the hospital and no one almost sank a boat. We're looking at you, Pearson. Um,
yep,
Uh,
good
One of the
stuff.
many reasons we love match racing.
I do love
Um,
match racing.
it
Favorite,
brings
I
out
mean,
the best in all of us,
yeah, I
or
didn't
something.
love match racing before I came to Oak Cliff because I was very much a one design, college sailor, fleet racing, which I do still love. But the minute I found out match racing, it's like quick hit. We've got like, 9 to 13 minute races. People hit each other. I was like, sold. You got me.
Hiking in a snipe regatta, 25 knots over 4 days, 9 to 10 minute races, match racing. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Although,
yeah,
Janelle, the Santa Maria Cup we did was so windy, I did feel like I got hit by a truck at the end of every single day. We sailed three
yeah,
up in a
yeah.
J22 in San Francisco, which I can't recommend personally,
Yeah,
but it's
sorry.
a great story. No, I actually felt like, I felt like it makes you feel like the strongest person on planet Earth. You're like doing
Mhm.
bow and pulling up the halyards and everything. I'm like,
I can do anything. Love it.
all right. And then to finish it off, we had Safe Harbor this weekend in Newport, which we could talk about results, but what I really want to talk about for the Safe Harbor Regatta is Super Yacht Central. Everyone's talking about Maximus. Janelle or Whitney, you were there this past weekend. Tell us about your firsthand experience with this glorious boat.
Well, yeah, I was boat shopping, so I was walking the docks at the Safe Harbor Newport shipyard and stumbled upon this fine creature. We talked to a few people who sailed on it. So this boat is it's a modest Freres 59, which the 59 stands for 59 meters, not 59 feet. But they sailed with 48 crew and up to 25 guests, with a job for everybody, all the crew members. Um, so kind of an impressive display of teamwork, I guess you could say. But it's an amazing boat actually. What we were looking at it and we were kind of ogling at the fact that it's a beautiful boat. Some of the big ones it seems like they lose the plot a little bit, but this one is awesome. And we were amazed at its the clear intent to race it, right? So a lot of the equipment on board has like halyard locks and everything like that. So it's set up to go racing, which is very cool. It's got a baby grand piano down below,
I
which
was gonna say, don't worry. It's not just about racing. There's also the luxury. Things got a baby grand piano, cannons, antiques, a bust of some Greek or Roman character.
Fireplaces.
Yeah. Yes,
fireplaces, yes.
fireplaces. And the spinnaker has the gladiator face
Mask.
on it. Mask, thank you.
Yeah.
That's pretty
It looks
epic.
like pirates, right? That's
Yeah.
what we were hearing from some of our
Kind of,
coworkers.
yeah, it was black and red. It really, yeah, makes you think of like a pirate ship, the Black Pearl, but they went
One
with Gladiator. So
one of our US sailing coworkers came in and was like, "Yeah, I was out on the water in Newport last week and there was this huge boat. Which one?" And then we were like, "Oh yeah, it's probably Maximus." I mean, like we showed her pictures, like, "Oh yeah, it was that one." I told all of the people on the boat with me, all my friends, that pirates were coming to get us. So I think that was probably. I'm sure she was not the only one in Newport to think that. It is kind of does give pirate ship a little bit, but
It does.
stole the show this
Yeah.
weekend. I was like, there was other racing happening. Can't say I know anything about it. All I know was big boat with baby grand piano.
Yeah. And there were six. There were six super yachts racing. So
Wow.
it was cool. Yeah, they all came back this year. I think the last time the super yachts were at this regatta was like 2 years ago, 2023 maybe. So they're out there racing amongst the rest of us, kind of. But it was
Wow.
very, the Maximus is an impressive sight to behold. It was definitely drawing the most people on the dock walk.
Yeah.
I
and
like the description.
you said you were boat shopping. So how much is this grand vessel?
Yeah, actually, you could run an America's Cup campaign or you could buy this boat. It's
Oh,
almost exactly the
Up
it's a
to
same
tough,
you.
it's a
price.
tough choice. That's a tough choice.
Yeah, I don't know about the cost of running the boat, um, or buying a set of sails. Maybe reach out to your local sailmaker if you're interested in a quote. But yeah, I
I'm
think
gonna
all of these
guess
boats are
five
maybe
hundred
always
thousand
available.
dollars for sales. I'm
I
just
don't
gonna
know.
throw that number out there. I have no idea if it's true or not.
I think
Somebody
that's
fact
the
check me, but
spinnaker. I don't know.
yeah, true, true.
But
Crazy.
Yeah, beautiful, just beautiful boat.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's the end of our notice board episode. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to cover this week? I'm kind of surprised there's not more news, but thankful that it's not too much we have to go over.
So yeah, send us your opinions on some of this stuff. Email us, comment on it, follow us online. But we want to know what's going on where you're sailing. So if you have anything you want us to cover, send us an email, americansailor@ussailing.org, or your opinion on something that we're talking about or facts we got wrong. We want to hear all of it. Yeah.
Thoughts, opinions, questions, comments. What regattas did we miss? Throw it all in there. We'd love to hear from you.